When Jollibee first landed in Los Angeles, the city barely noticed. It was 1998, a time when burger chains ruled America and every corner seemed to glow with the golden arches of McDonald's AS or the red star of Carl G.S. Jr. Into that fast food empire arrived something strange, bright, and proudly foreign. A smiling red bee with a chef's hat, singing Langhap Sarap to people who had no idea what that meant. The first Jollibee branch in LA opened on Beverly Boulevard, surrounded by stores selling tacos, pizzas, and donuts. Filipinos from nearby neighborhoods like Eagle Rock and Glendale came in droves during the opening week, waving tiny flags, lining up for Chickenjoy and spaghetti sweetened with banana ketchup. For them, it was a taste of home in the heart of America. But for everyone else, it was weird. Local newspapers wrote sarcastic reviews. A new Asian chain with fried chicken and noodles. Make up your mind. A famous food blogger even titled their piece, "The Bee That Couldn't Fly." Americans didn't understand why the spaghetti was sweet. They couldn't handle the mix of hot dogs, cheese, and ketchup. They were confused by palabok with shrimp sauce and crushed chicharron. Even the name Jollibee sounded childish to them. And worst of all, many thought it would fail within a year. For months, business was slow. Curious customers came, laughed, took photos, and never returned. Franchise critics called it a misguided cultural experiment. Even Filipino immigrants who had lived in America for years hesitated to bring their American friends there, afraid they'd be embarrassed by how different it was. But inside that little restaurant, something beautiful happened. The Filipino workers, most of them newly arrived immigrants, treated every customer like family. They said, "Welcome po," even to people who looked confused. They served every burger with a smile, every spaghetti plate with warmth. When the store closed at night, they gathered by the counter, talking in Taglish about how to make the food more appealing without losing its soul. "Baka kailangan natin gawing less sweet," one manager suggested. "No," replied the cook firmly. "Then it won't be Filipino anymore." They didn't change the recipe. They changed the story. The next year, Jollibee opened a second branch, this time in Carson, near a larger Filipino community. Families flocked there for birthdays, OFWs came after long shifts, and Filipino nurses drove from other states just to taste something that reminded them of Manila. Word spread. And slowly, something started to shift. Los Angeles began to notice that line outside Jollibee every weekend. People who once mocked it now got curious. What's this place that's always full? Locals began trying it, and some loved it. A viral food blogger from San Diego once wrote, "I thought it was a joke, but this chicken, it's better than Popeyes." That line changed everything. By 2005, Jollibee had grown to several locations across California. The lines never disappeared. Filipino-American kids brought their school friends there and introduced them to Chickenjoy. Food critics began calling it a cultural phenomenon. The same Los Angeles Times that once dismissed it now described it as the heart of Filipino cuisine in California. But behind that success was a story of struggle and pride. Every Jollibee worker carried the weight of that early rejection, the memory of being laughed at for their accent, for the sweetness of their spaghetti, for serving gravy with fried chicken. Yet every time they handed over a tray with a smile, they were saying, "This is us. This is who we are." In 2013, Jollibee opened its biggest California branch in West Covina. The mayor attended. Local TV stations covered it live. Americans who had never set foot in the Philippines came to see what the hype was about. They took photos with the giant bee statue, tried Halo Halo for the first time, and fell in love with the food that once confused them. Then came the turning point, a viral TikTok video in 2020 of an American man tasting Jollibee for the first time. His eyes widened after biting into Chickenjoy. "This is the best fried chicken I've ever had," he said. Within hours, the clip exploded online, tens of millions of views. By 2022, Jollibee had become one of the most beloved fast food brands in California, even outperforming major chains in some areas. Celebrities were spotted ordering there. Food channels featured it alongside Shake Shack and In-N-Out. The Red Bee had finally found its wings. And when Jollibee opened its flagship restaurant in Times Square, New York, the same city that once ignored it, the crowd stretched for blocks. Reporters from CNN, BBC, and the New York Times called it the global Filipino success story. But back in Los Angeles, where it all began, the original Beverly Boulevard branch still stood. The same faded walls, the same smiling statue. Inside, the manager on duty was one of the original crew members from 1998, now older, wiser, and proud. A young American couple walked in. "Is it true this place used to fail?" the man asked. The manager smiled. "Used to," he said softly, setting down 2 plates of Chickenjoy. The woman took a bite. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Why didn't we come here sooner?" The manager looked out the window. The sun was setting over Los Angeles, casting gold over the Bees sign. He remembered the mockery, the headlines, the laughter. And he remembered the pride that never died. The same pride that carried every Filipino immigrant through the hardest days. "Because," he said, smiling to himself, "we had to wait until America was ready to taste joy." The bee was laughed at, the bee was doubted. But in the land that once rejected it, the Filipino bee now flies higher than ever. Because you can't keep down something built from love, laughter, and langhap sarap.